go through that variable and actually set the variable. But just to be aware that your anim preview editor does not directly affect the variables that you're changing. It's just for previewing, unless you hit the apply button down there. So now that we got that state machine, let's talk about adding another state for going prone. Now if you look at the animations, come into the animations and let's just do a filter for prone. We have prone death, prone fire, prone idle, and then you have these prone transitions. Since there's no movement, these are just animations. I don't have to make blend spaces. So for demonstration purposes, doing this in prone as opposed to the crouch might be a little easier. So let's go back to the blueprint. And just like with this, we want to have a transition to the prone state. And then back again and make this little circle. So down here, let's go ahead and play the prone idle. So there's no crawling animation, so once you're prone, you're just laying down, so we don't have to worry about navigation. That's what's going to make it nice to do the next demonstration in the prone state. Now everything I'm going to do, you can do with crouching, but it takes more animations and more additive blend spaces and that kind of thing. So it'll still work, but it takes a little more rigging up. This is just going to be a little simpler. So let's go ahead and put the transition in here. Stand to prone. And this is prone to stand. And so how are we going to get that? Well, we need another variable. Let's add another flag, and we'll call it prone flag AB. And then, just like we did with the crouching, when the flag is on, we'll go into the transition. Let's call this one prone trans. There's an E in prone. And we'll call this one prone to stand trans. And so when that flag is not equal, we'll go into there. And again, we need time remaining from the stand, and we'll go less than 0.05 seconds. And same with this one. So now, if we hit that, we'll go to our transition. Oops, what was that? You know what that was? That is the transition is not short enough, so the animation's playing and then it's blending because we're blending when it's almost done. There's not enough time to blend. We can fix that by really cranking this blend time down a lot, and then same for here. So let's try that again. There we go. And then we come back up. That one snaps a bit for some reason. Prone to stand is... Ah, yeah, that would explain it. Prone to stand is a slightly different pose. So what we can do is let's see if we can just hide that transition a little bit. Let's change that to 0.2, and then this to back to 0.2. See if we can hide that transition a little better. Yeah, that's a little cleaner. There we go. And we don't have that weird popping because we are blending out of this space with enough time left in the animation. That's what's preventing that weird popping that you saw earlier. So now that we're in the prone state, we can actually go and do some fancy things like actually have a state machine within a state machine. So let's go add new state machine. We'll call this the prone state machine. Let's go ahead and cut that. So the first state will be prone idle. And then what we can do is we can come out here and go prone reload. And then back again. So how do we know that we're going into prone reload? Well, let's add a variable. But let's add one variable. Let's add a reload variable that we can use for all of our reload transitions. And then of course we'll come out of that if the time remaining is over. Where is my time remaining? Oh, I'm searching for it. I can't find it. This confused me a lot when I first stumbled into it. The reason why is that the state machine isn't actually connected. You actually have to connect it, compile it, you'll get some warnings. Now that it knows what that state is, now it comes up. So that's just a little quirk in the engine that I've noticed, and it's kind of bit me in the butt a couple times until I figured it out. So if you see that, if you're looking for that time remaining, it's probably because your state machine's not hooked up yet. So we need our reload animation from reload. Oops, not that. Play prone reload rifle. And we don't want that to loop, so we'll take looping off. And this is going to be our prone idle. And we do want this one to loop. So connect that there. So now we can go into prone and then go into reload. How about that? So now we have a state machine within a state machine. And I'm not necessarily saying that's the best way to do it. I'm just kind of doing that as demonstration purposes.